thing about jazz is that since it was created, it's been bringing people together. People from different backgrounds, different communities.
Playing jazz may not seem like your typical way of winning hearts and minds, but that's what the Roland Quartet is here to do in Pakistan.
I feel that if Pakistanis are exposed to jazz, maybe they'll learn something about America that they really had no idea about. I mean, so much of what people around the world see of America is either security issues or MTV or Hollywood.
But this isn't just art for art's sake.
It's a program to promote American culture and promote the exchange of ideas and cultural interaction in foreign countries. And jazz has been one of our most popular elements over the years.
The Roland Quartet has traveled to 20 countries in the last 2 years as U.S. jazz ambassadors. It's part of a State Department initiative started during the Cold War to improve America's image abroad. The program has featured jazz greats like Dizzy Gillespie, pictured here in Pakistan in 1956, Benny Goodman, seen here in Moscow, and Louis Armstrong, who traveled to Egypt. Much of the focus is on the Muslim world.
In any country in conflict where the United States has a particular profile, a particularly high profile as we do here, it's very important to convey the softer side of the United States.
The musicians appeared on a local radio show later that afternoon to send a jazzy message about the U.S. and about freedom.
Today we have a very, very special show for you because the show is live. We have a bunch of amazingly talented musicians who've flown in specially to be here with you today, this evening.
I'd like to say a word to your audience, which is that we all have, as human beings, the human right to have musical ambitions. So I want to say, don't deny yourself that right.
It's a tough sell in Pakistan, where anti-Americanism runs deep amongst the general population, and where the Taliban wants to ban music altogether. Here, fundamentalists routinely make bonfires out of CDs and destroy music stores. That's one reason why the Roland Quartet has reached out to Pakistani musicians like Arieb Azhar. One of his shows was bombed a few years ago. Azhar says the poor people of the country could benefit from cultural diplomacy the most.
Religious extremism has been growing in those areas of Pakistan where the state has failed in its duty and has failed to supply those areas with basic infrastructure, education, healthcare. Most of all, I think there's a disconnect between the elite of this country and the normal people of this country. I think it's important for this cultural exchange to happen between the ordinary people of Pakistan.
During their trip, the Roland Quartet visited schools and universities in the larger cities, teaching about the history of jazz and performing for students. But there were limits to their cultural outreach. Gunfire erupted outside their hotel while staying in Karachi, and they didn't make it out to any villages, as the situation in Pakistan grows increasingly more dangerous. That evening in Islamabad, they played for a well-heeled crowd. Many were students home on holiday from universities in the U.S., like Shiza Shahid.
Rather than actually alleviating the hatred that the masses have for the U.S., by having these exclusive concerts for this exclusive percentage of the population, I feel like it's actually adding to the problem, because it's just that segment with the U.S., and it doesn't involve the people who have really borne the brunt of U.S. policies or who have really heard the media talking about U.S. policies.
Following the concert, the quartet played at an after-hours club where everyone sang along to jazz standards. Roland says that it's hard to quantify the impact of cultural diplomacy, but these are the kinds of moments that build bridges.
You change one person, you change two people's minds, whether it's here or back in the States, maybe it can lead to something important. And I'd like to play just a tiny part in people of different nations coming together.